All right. Good morning, everyone. And good afternoon. Good afternoon instead. Sorry, since we started, we are already live before noon, so I'm thinking it's still morning. So good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to this brief webinar session that is going to be also a training. It's a training session. So we're using a one stone to kill two birds. So within this short period of time, we're going to be doing much. So I will just encourage you to just stay put and try to catch up to all that we'll be doing. Before I continue, my name is Kimi Musa. My name is Kimi Musa. I'm a student of FUT Mina, Federal University of Technology Mina, here in Niger State. And I am one of the campus ambassadors. And I am currently at the ICT Center. And I believe with the moment we're going to be spending together, even after this, some of you already know me. And after this, we're going to be getting to know each other the more. But before we go into details of the main event, I would like to appreciate everyone again for making it to the webinar session. And then before we proceed to the main agenda, I would like to just use this moment to just briefly discuss with you or to do a brief presentation about the Huawei ICT Academy, especially the one here in FUT Mina. I will be doing a general overview of what the ICT Academy is all about, and also specifically to the academy. But that would just be in a brief presentation. All right, the ICT Academy, the main goal is to build a career, to help individual build career, especially students towards various fields in IT related. So one of the major goal of the academy is to bridge the gap between the academia and the industry. And thank God for Huawei, because that is one thing that we are lacking, especially in this part of the world, on how there is a large gap between the industry and the academia, where most of the things that are done in the academia is the more or less I would like to put it, the industry of the academics, where we do majorly the most activities are the academics, where students study and like that. So most of the things that are done are not relative to what happens after school. So what is out there in the real world, most of the times we see that there is this large gap between the knowledge that has been acquired in the academia and also the industry. So Huawei ICT Academy aim to bridge that gap so that there is little or no gap when transiting from the academia to the industry. So, and this have come to be, and they've been doing a great job as concerning this. So that is the reason for the academics, and majorly here in FUT Mina, we have taken that into heart, and we have been doing our part to ensure that this goal is achieved. All right, sorry, I'll be breaking because I'm also admitting people. So how this is done, okay. How this is achieved is by the informations or the courses that are available to us on the Huawei platform, the learning platform. So since we know that Huawei as it stands is one of the industry that is really trending, or that is really doing well in terms of the ICT development, in terms of the digital world that we're into. And if as at, I think 2015 is when the ICT Academy became so known to the Nigerian institutions, and they've been doing a great job in trainings by the material that are provided on the learning platform. And so sorry, I won't be spending much time on this because this is not majorly what we are doing, but this is just a brief recap of what some of us already know. And if you don't know, this is what it is. Maybe subsequent time we'll be talking more about the benefits of the academy. So the main objective is to establish, the main objective of the academy by Huawei is a non-profit educational program institution, or let's just say an academy, it's like an institution. It's a non-profit. So it provides training and learning solutions to meet ICT industry requirement, building ICT industry talent ecosystem where all industry talents are bring into one, training and qualifying learners in industry certification. That is one of the things. We take certification courses and so on. The Huawei ICT Academy knowledge transfer. This is it from Huawei. We have the Huawei plus the academia. Bridging this gap, give birth to students that are ICT trained, ICT qualified, ICT certified, sorry, practical hands-on experience where the academy gives opportunities to students to undergo practical hands-on experience, and of course career guidance, just like we are doing. This is one of it, the career guidance, where you get to know, oh, this is what you can do, these are the careers that are out there, and these are the steps you can take to get to that, to be successful in that career path. So some of the benefits of the ICT Academy is to link with industry and knowledge sharing. That is the reward and the knowledge and the reward. So the knowledge that comes from school, the knowledge that comes from learning from the ICT platform, the knowledge that comes from engaging in various activities by our week, will result to the student getting real world knowledge, that is something that is applicable outside school. So access to latest technology, just as we know, Huawei is really updated in the latest technologies. Talk of any technology that is actually trending now, Huawei has a footprint in all of this. So also access to industry standard simulation tool. We have ENSP and other simulation tools that are really delivering in service in terms of training, work placement opportunities like internships, what we talk about NYC or 400 level going for their IT programs. We've had situation, we have success where students are taking to the Huawei industry. Sorry, let me try and mute this person.
Bluetooth mode.
All right, I think that is better. Okay, sorry about that for the break. I needed to mute the person so I can hear ourselves clear. So there are so many opportunities that are available, that are given to us by Huawei Academy. And as a student, you stand a chance to benefit from this. You get free certifications. I think as it stands, Huawei is one of the organization that is providing full free certification as it stands. Other vendors like Cisco and the rest are paid certifications, like HCIA levels. Most of the time we get the certification for free, but outside there is actually paid for. In fact, by the help of the schools synergizing with Huawei, we'll be able to get these free certifications thanks to the school for incorporating this, for embracing Huawei into the academia, and thanks to Huawei too for doing a very great job in this area. And students receive special discount, of course. That is what I just said. And of course, you get to have continuous support from Huawei in their various platforms. Now
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. Good afternoon. I'm Samaila Bilyaminu by name. I'm also a result of the ICT Academy from ABU. So I'm a data center facility engineer, which I'm currently have been working for some time now. I think 2 years. For 2 years, I've been in this position. So we're going to just a brief knowledge of the data center. We're just going to have it like a discussion on the data center because it's a new. Even me, I'm getting to learn. When they told me about the training, I told them I've not learned anything yet. I'm still learning. So we'll just go through the brief things we have in the data centers for easy understanding, so that someone can easily pick interest and decide to go into it deeply. In this part of the training, we'll be able to, we'll just say, I've said it, but I'll say it again. It's just the key components, the common standard of the data center, the common energy consumption, because data center has to do with power. So this course is more of a power student, an electrical engineering student is at the advantage, is having the edge of this course, but it's also for everybody because data center is a wide place. It comprises of a lot of things. So first and foremost, we'll be looking at the data center introduction and development. Then we'll go to the composition of data center infrastructure, the introduction of data center standard, the common energy consumption and indicators, the panorama of Huawei data center solutions, because we have other data centers. We have the Cisco data centers, the African data center. We have a lot of data centers, but we'll base on the Huawei because Huawei is what brought us together. Yeah, building data center and building a career in data center. That's the last thing we'll talk about, and that should be a more of a discussion aspect, and that should be the place where if you have any question, you will ask me. If I can't give the answer, I think I have my boss online. I don't know if he is still, because I've not seen him. He said he's going to come. If I can't answer, he will answer you. So now the development history of global data center. In the past, the data center is only used by government. But with the advent of the new, the internet, the commercial things, the need to store data, the internet, to be precise, is what brought in the market of the data center to so much expand that we need data center always because we need to store our data. So the data center, let me go ahead and define the data center. The data center is a large group of networked computer servers typically used by organizations for remote storage, processing, or distribution of large amount of data. That is, data center is just a computer room, a large computer room. If we go further, we'll discover that we have different types or classes of the data center based on their sizes. So as the company keep on developing, as companies keep up coming up, and the market, especially the banking industry, keep up this, and there are a lot of data that needs to be stored and needs to be processed, and there are a lot of traffic. The IT people call it traffic. The network guys call it traffic. They're moving here and there. Like in the afternoon now, we have so much amount of traffic traveling around. So those are the places normally that serves as a passage and also as a storage for those traffics. So that is where the data center comes into place. The importance of a data center cannot be overemphasized. The data center infrastructure, we have the traditional data center, which I just finished explaining, which was used by the government. Then we have the modular data centers, which are just small, but yet effective. They are integrated data centers and are constructed quickly. Most of them are already pre-manufactured and pre-commissioned before coming to site. So as a data center engineer, sometimes you go to site to deploy a data center, they give you a limited amount of time because of the need for the data center. They will say, okay, you should deploy this site less than a week. So those are the things that help us, because most of the things are pre-tested. So if you come, you know exactly what to do, and you bring up the sites within a short period of time. So the modular data center are smart data center most of the times, because they have a large, you can monitor them remotely. There's a lot of things in the data center. We'll get to it when we go to the detailed parts of the data center. So the cloud data center now, due to the advent of the growing of the new technology, of the new I don't know exactly the word to this, the growing of the internet. Now there is need for the cloud data center. Now the cloud data center does not differ from the normal data center we have. It is only the things, that is the server, switches, and all those things that differs from the normal data center. When we say cloud, we don't mean we should go up and put the data center up in the cloud, but no, it is just like a space, a wide space. A typical scenario is you have one server having sub-servers, maybe up to 30-something, 16 or so. So you just have a small device, but controlling what a quite number of a quite number of devices can do. That is where the issue of issue of virtual servers comes into play. You have just one single server, but you have a lot of you can do a lot of things with it. So with the traffic explosion, cloud computing is very flexible and it is easier to manage. It has dynamic allocation and it has a centralized management. Because if you want to manage the server, or you want to manage 16 of your server, you don't go individually, you can manage them collectively from that cloud. That is where, and again, the issue of power consumption. When you have a lot of devices generating a lot of heat, so you have high power consumption. But when you have a single one, there is limited, the power there is lessened. The power generated is also lessened. Trend of environmental protection. With the rapid development in information, the construction of global data center is accelerated. Yes. Now, a lot of places are building their own personal data centers. Banks, name it, all these, our government agencies, because of the need to store data. So now it is calculated that in the whole world, we use about 1.1% to 1.5% of our power on data centers only. The data centers consumes a lot of power. That is why we need to look for a way to control this. So it causes environmental pollution. So we are looking for a way in order to move to the environmental, to lessen the environmental protection, the environmental pollution it causes. Clean energy such as wind and solar are increasingly used in the data center. So now we are looking for a way we can incorporate the solar and the wind energy into the data center in order to reduce the pollution and also to increase to reduce the power usage effectiveness of the data center. Now, the data center infrastructure management. Inefficient data center inefficient use of the data center leads to high losses, leads to a high cost, because if there's any issue on the data center, before you know it, you are counting on losses. If your data center goes down, you can lose a quite number of amounts, sometimes in millions, running into millions, just for maybe a 30 minutes failure of a device. You can lose into millions, and it will cause communication breach along the line. So the use for that is the need for the data center infrastructure management comes into play, because it monitors all IT equipment, facility equipment, IT processes, and in a unified manner. The use for this, the data center infrastructure management is to monitor, basically to monitor, so that if there is any issue, you'll be able to address the issue before it becomes a serious problem. So that is why in the data center we have what we call the active monitoring. all the time. There's people monitoring the data center, checking in details, seeing. They are checking all parameters to make sure everything is working normally. They go and resolve, support and manage, support resource management and asset management. Yes, they keep details of virtually everything in the data center. They monitor everything in real time and even remote monitoring. Somebody like me, I can travel to a particular place and still check to see if there's any issues on the data center. Now, introduction to the data center lifecycle. The first part is the planning, which we all do. Anything we have to do, we have to plan. Then the design of the data center. It has to do with a lot of things. You have to put the power source, the environment, the security of the environment, because data centers are very sensitive places. We harbor a lot of information. So our security is one of the most important things. Then the construction. It depends on the size of the data center. Like the modular data center is built most at times inside a building. But now the data centers are designed in such a way that they can be prefabbed. That is container data centers. So they can be just shipped from a particular location and just bring to a well-prepared design and construction has already been taking place in the other end. So what is remaining now is the operation and maintenance of the data center, which is the key. You can't build a very good thing and allow it to spoil. And again, without accurate operation and maintenance, you cannot make profit in the data center business. So you have to be very precise in decision making and things and the way you manage things. Then the evaluation. Most of the times we do evaluation in the data centers to make sure if we are using the data center effectively or we are not using it effectively. And this comes into play during or this in line with the operation and maintenance of the data center. Now, the composition of the data center. The data center consists of 8 parameters. And of the 8, we have the 2 most important parameters, which is the power supply system and the cooling system. Those are the 2 most important systems. If you have the power supply and don't have the cooling, it's as good as you are not having a data center. And if you have cooling and doesn't have power supply, still, the power supply gives the edge. But if you have power without cooling, it's just the same thing. Now, in the power supply, we have the generators, the ATS, which stands for automatic transfer switch, the UPS, which is the uninterruptible power supply, the DC cabinet, the AC cabinet, the static transfer switch, the battery and battery racks, the power cables. All these comprises of the power part, the power supply system of the data center. Now, the cooling. In data center, we use the precision air conditioners, the comfort conditioners, and the ventilation system, which can be a fresh air system. The integrated cabling. Now, this comes to play when our cables need to be managed well, because we have a lot of cables. We have both the network cables, the power cables, and the fiber cables, all in the data centers, and they need to be managed well. Then the integrated management. We have the integrated management system, which is the monitoring system. We have the access control system, because in case of intruder, anybody that does not have access to the data center should either be given access or denied access. That is, he has to go through the management monitoring, the integrated monitoring system to get his access to the data center. So we need to monitor the amount of people going in and out of the data center, and the CCTV, which serve as a security to the data center. Then the power and environment monitoring, that is around all our power, all our generators, ATS, DC cabinet, all of them are also monitored. Should in case of any issue, there will be an alarm on your system using the integrated management system. There will be an alarm. So you go and check what is wrong. Then we have another important part, which is the firefighting system, the fire detection system, the smoke detection system, and the extinguishing system. So those are incorporated in the data center and are also important part of the data center. We have the surge protection. Yes, and the surge and grounding. This cannot be overemphasized because we have a lot of power devices. So the surge protection and the grounding is important in order to help the people working there. We have the cabinet system, precision air supply cabinet, and we have the IT device cabinet. The precision air supply cabinet has to do with the cooling parts. Then the IT device cabinet are structured in such a way that they too can take up the cooling because they are positioned in an. We'll come to that in an. We'll go to the type of the cooling system we use in data center. So this part will be explained more. The precision air supply cabinet and the IT device cabinet will be explained more in that aspect. Then we have the interior decoration. The data center has to be a fine place. So the floor plan, the door, windows, walls and ceiling, the raised floor, and the lighting. So those comprises of the interior decoration of the data center. Now we'll move on to the power supply system of the data center. We have the high voltage power. So if we look at Nigeria, we have the 132, which is the normal grid line that we use for transmission, so to 33 kV to 11 kV. So it all depends on the type of data center you are running. Is it a large data center? Is it a medium data center? Or is it a small data center? So that will determine the power you will need. In the data center. We have the generators, which serves as a backup. We all know what generators are made for. They serve as backup in the data center. But as we go further, I will explain something about the generator in the data center. So we have the ATS, which is the automatic transfer switch. What the ATS does is to switch from mains to generator in a place whereby there is an inavailability of power, mains power. It switch, like in Nigeria that we don't have a stable power supply. So the ATS is a switching device that just switch anytime the power goes off, it switch to the generator and automatically powers up the generator. We have the below voltage distribution. Now, the diagram I have at my left, at my right hand here, is the basic diagram of the data center, the basic configuration of the data center, which is of the access level, which is the power distribution, the room power, the room level, which is the power, the room level, and the cabinet level. Now, in the data center, the power first comes from, like I explained, it depends on the size of the data center. It either comes from the 11, let's start from the 11 kV volt, which a transformer needs to convert to 400 or 415, depending. The Nigeria standard now is now 400. So from there, and the generator, which is standby, the connections are both done on the ATS. The two are done on the ATS. So the ATS is the determinant that will check which of them will be in use. If the mains is not available, which is the priority, it's switched to generator. So now the ATS is connected to UPS and also a main PDF. The main PDF stands for a power distribution frame. It is just used for distribution. Now, the UPS, the input PDF of the UPS and the main PDF. Now, the main PDF is just used for cooling and other power consumed in the data center, like the lightning sockets and so on, while the UPS input PDF is used for the data center. So now, the modular UPS, which is basically used in the data center, are of two parts, because the data center is done in such a way that there is a primary side and there is also a secondary side. In the case of an outage on one, the data center will still be up. So most of our devices in data center has two power source. So, and we, at a point, we have to differentiate the power source to go in. So UPS 1 is used to serve the first part of the data center, the first power of the data center, and UPS 2 will serve the second part of the data center. Then from there, it goes inside the cabinet, which the cabinet, we have what we call the rack distribution unit. Each cabinet has two rack distribution units. For the first rack distribution unit, is the power of the device. The first power device is connected to the first rack, and the second power device is connected to the second RPDU, that is power distribution unit. Now, the mains PDF is used for cooling because the cooling consumes a high amount of power, so we cannot put the cooling on the UPS. For normal data centers. So the cooling, because it will cost a lot. So those you see, we have precision air conditioner 1, 2, and 3, all connected to the main PDF. Now the main purpose of the UPS is to purify and back up electric energy. It is used also as a switching device in case the ATS, if there is a power loss on the mains, the ACS wants to switch. So there is a gap in between before the generator comes up and supply and the time the power goes off. So the UPS serve as a switch. So it gives power for that main time before the ATS comes up, before the generator or the mains come back, the mains comes up. So they have explained the rack power distribution, which is the RPDU. We also have DC power in the data center because some of our devices use DC instead of AC. So the DC power supply is used to power on those devices. The device like the transmission equipment, which are the OSN device, the router, I think NE4000 uses DC too. So those devices are used. We use the DC power cabinet to safely power them up. Now the cooling system in the data center, as I've explained, is very important. The power consumption and power density of data center is increasingly significantly every time, because in a scenario whereby you have a server, and the server, take for instance in the afternoon when traffic are moving up and down, so the server is experiencing high amount of traffic, the processor tends to work fast, so it will increase the amount of heat generated. So we need cooling to take care of the cooling, to cool that system, because at a point it will shut down, telling you high temperature. So due to those things, the cooling is of great essence to the data center. We have two solutions for cooling. We have the chilled water cooling, which is used for large-scale data centers, and we have the air-cooled solution, which is used for small and medium-sized data center. Despite the fact the air-cooled is used now for large-scale data centers because of its flexibility, and again the amount of cooling, the amount of cooling is precise and can be monitored, and also it saves cost and is also efficient. So now currently the data center is structured in such a way that the air-cooled is used also for a large-scale data center. We have the data center is also divided into, the cooling of data center is divided into three configurations. We have the in-room cooling, the in-row cooling, and the in-cabinet cooling. Now, the in-row cooling, the data center racks are arranged in such a way, cooling system is arranged in such a way that it cools the entire room. Some the ground, the supply air, the place of supply, it will be under the ground, under the raised floor. So that is where the air blows, the fan is blowing downward, and it's coming up, entering the racks, and the up is used as the return air. So it goes back to the AC through the upper row. We have the in-row cooling, which is, I think, virtually the most adopted now, which is the in-room cooling, because it is closer to the cabinet. There is what we call a hot aisle and a cool aisle in the data center. The hot aisle is the back of the racks, which the heat normally, if you go and stand at the back of the rack, you discover that is where the heat comes out. And the cold aisle is inside, that is between module to module, facing each other. So that is where those ACs are facing the cold air. The supply air, and the air hits the cabinet through the front and push out the hot air through the back, which returns to the air conditioner through the back. Then we have the in-cabinet cooling. The in-cabinet cooling consumes a lot of time to implement. It takes a lot of time to implement, but it's also good, but it takes a lot of resources, and again, it is very difficult to maintain. It is very difficult to maintain. So in-cabinet is not, is used mostly in a very small data center, maybe Fusion Module 500, which is a one rack data center, or Fusion Module 800, that the number of racks are less. That is when we use mostly in-cabinet. But the in-row is the one in use. Now, data center infrastructure management. Now, the data center infrastructure management has to do with monitoring and maintenance management. The power of the data center, the facilities in the data center, the data center infrastructure management helps to facilitate the operation and maintenance, and also increase management efficiency, because it tells you exactly what is happening in the data center. That is what the data center infrastructure, data center integrated management does. It tells you everything about the data center from the monitoring room. From the monitoring room, it tells you all you need to know about the data center. If there's an alarm, it tells you there's an alarm. Your ATS is having an alarm. You have a low voltage coming from the bins. It's switching to the generator. You will see all those parameters on this, and it is easier for you to analyze. And also, the data center infrastructure management keeps record. It gives you historical alarm. Sometimes we configure it in such a way that even if you are not in the office, you see a text message, okay, telling you have a critical alarm on so place, or you have a major alarm, depending on what is done. Sometimes it calls you. You will just see the call. You know, yes, there is an issue in so place, so you need to attend to it. The data center infrastructure management. This is the diagram for the data center infrastructure management. Let me make this a little bit bold. This is the data center infrastructure management. It is divided into 3 layers. We have the monitoring layer, the transmission layer, and the data collection layer. Now, all facilities in the data collection layer are located inside the data center. Aside that of the power system is a part of the data center. Aside that, because the generator is outside, the ATS can be inside and can also be outside of the data center. But the environmental monitoring of the data centers, the cooling, water leakage, smoke detector, TH sensor, the SPD, inside the data center. We have the camera, which is for security purpose, and the access control, which is for security purpose. Now, we have embedded servers. If you check close to the switch, just before the switch, we have embedded servers. Now, the embedded servers differs in their use. Now, the communication protocols, these environmental monitoring system, the video monitoring system, access control system use. What they use determines the embedded server. Now, for camera, they use TCP/IP as a communication protocol. For access, they use TCP/IP. That is why they are connected to the switch direct. So for those generators, like for generators, some of them use tri-node, some use Modbus communication, some use RS485 communication. So you need an embedded server that will collect those informations together and transfer them to the switch, in turn transferring them to the server. So the server is also connected to the switch. The embedded servers that collect all informations are connected to the switch. Then it is sent to the internet. Transmission people, that is where the transmission will come into place. They know how they normally, I don't know much about the transmission they normally do. I only connect to the switch and they take off from there. Then I go to the control room. Now, the monitoring system is where the control is. So the monitoring management layer is the control room. Those things have to do with the control room. So there is a computer on the control room where you see the alarms in it, and the system is the one who sent them text message, printed alarm, all those things. And from the transmission layer, we have the internet, which you can monitor remotely. So basically, this is the data center. So now we're moving to the standard overview of the standard of the data center standard. The data center standards are divided, are just too plenty. A lot of them, it depends on the country or the place you are buying your position or where you are subscribing to. So the data center has a lot of standards. We have the national standard, industrial standards, association standard, direct standard, data standard, and policy standard, which are all on national standard. Now, the general standard of the data center, we have the code for design of data center. We have the data center site infrastructure, which is the tier standard, operational sustainability. We have the data center infrastructure tier standard, which has to do with the topology of the data center. We have the tier 942B 2017 telecommunication infrastructure standard for data center USA. Introduction to the uptime standard. Now, this is basically the widest use, the one that is widely in use. The data center, the uptime is a well-known data standard organization and independent. The data center, the uptime tier certification consists of 3 parts. You have the design documents. You have to submit a design document to them. If you check, before with the data center, we have to go through planning, design. So after you finish your design, you have to send this to them because they want to certify your data center. They'll give you a certificate for it after you finish. So you have to design the data center, first design, tier certification. You have to submit. You also need. You have to submit the certification of constructed facility, then the operational sustainability. So those ones, they will check those things: the constructed facility, the design document, the construction and operational sustainability of data center. They check in details. They will check everything from your cabling, just everything pertaining to data center. So according to the tier standard, the data center infrastructure is classified into 4 levels. We have the tier 1, which is the basic data center infrastructure. The tier 2, which is the redundant sites infrastructure capacity component. We have the tier 3, which is concurrently maintainable site infrastructure. And we have the tier 4, which is the fault tolerant site infrastructure. Now, according to uptime, they have divided those things. They differentiate. We have, according to uptime, we have 4 types of data center. And it's classified based on power supply reliability. So this table here, we are seeing here, is, we'll start from the tier 1. The tier 1 has only one part, of power. That is the generator, the means, and generator. If you check the inputs, the means input requirements, it solely depends on the country you are or the location you are. All is empty. So the generator, you only need one generator, or if you are using generator only, you can use one. So it's not specified here. So the UPS requirement is just one. You can use one, you can use two. There is no one serving as backup because power is of the power is just one. The generator startup just meeting the DG startup requirements. Then the fuel shortage requirement is just not specified. Now in the data center, in the tier 1 data center, we have only one part of power. In the tier 2, we have n+1. The n serves as the input, as the number of requirement. Then 1 should serve as redundant. So you have 1 active and 1 redundant. 1 active, even the generator should be 2. We have 1 active and 1 redundant. 1 active, the UPS, 1 is active and 1 redundant. In the case of failure of 1, the other one can serve. So it's an n+1 connection. And the fuel shortage requirement is just 12 hours. Now, for the tier 3, is a planned online maintenance, active standby power. So in the tier 3 data center, you have 2 power. Each of them are in pairs. Your means is in pair. That is, you have 2 transformers for your incoming. 2 power source coming to your data center. We have, maybe take for instance, KEDC for Abuja will give you power, and another private network will give you power. So you have, so one of them will be active, maybe KEDC, and a private sector will be down and on standby. Should in case KEDC goes off, for generators the same. If you have 1, you should add another one as standby. So the generator meeting up the DG standard, then the fuel shortage is 12 hours. We're going to the tier 4 data center, which is the latest, which is the fault tolerance. One thing I like with the tier 4 standard is that any major fault in the data center, be it any device or any of the power components, be it generator or the means, a major fault of data center will not and cannot affect the operation of the data center. The data center is like if you knock off the generator and knock off the means, you have not done not you have done knock off the generator, you have one of the generators, you have not done something. You have to shut down the entire system before if one is still working, the other. So that is why it has a 2N connection. All of them working simultaneously. If you have 2 working simultaneously, we have 2 mains, all of them will be supplying simultaneously. So the failure of 1. So now in the tier certification, tier 1 has an availability of 99.671% to the data center, either from mains or generator, and can only go for an outage of 28.8 hours per year. So the data center for a tier 1 is supposed to shut down in a whole year for 28.8 hours. This is based on the uptime certification. For the tier 2 data center, the availability which the outage time is 22 hours, or the downtime. The downtime is just 22 hours. For the tier 3 data center, it has an availability of 99.982%, which the downtime has been reduced to 1.6 hours per year. For the tier 4 data center is 99.95%, which only have been shut down in a year for just 26.3 minutes. That is according to the uptime standard. We have the tier 942-B 2007. So this classified data center aims to four structure. So we have the first one, which is the data center, which is the basic. Then the second one is the components. The third one is the concurrently maintainable data center, and the fourth one is the fault tolerant data center. So this one just is based on usefulness and security of the data center. So that is what they give their and they base their certification on. Okay, we have other standard of the data center, the SOIEC 30134 standard, which includes 5 volumes. We have the overview and general requirements of the data center. We have the power usage effectiveness, which is the PUE. We have the renewable energy factor, which has to put into consideration too, because I told you the data center consumes a lot of power. So our generators are most of the time running, which cause pollution, environmental pollution. We have the IT equipment energy efficiency for servers. Then we have the IT equipment utilization for servers. Data center power consumption. Now, in the data center, the IT devices consumes the highest amount of power we have a center. The IT consumes about 50% of the power we have in the data center. So this picture here shows the amount of data we consume. We have the chillers, which is the cooling. All the chiller, humidifier, and precision air conditions are all cooling system, are all for the cooling system. Then we have the IT device, which consumes the maximum amount. Then we have our own power device and switching, which consumes mostly reactive power, not active power. So the amount of power they consume are small. Now, this chart shows based on results gotten from other places. We have the IT equipment, which consumes 60%. The cooling consumes 25%. The air movement consumes 12%. The electricity transformation / UPS consumes 10%. And the lighting consumes 3%. Now, in the data center, we cannot control the consumption of IT equipment. All what we can control is the cooling. That is why we are looking to optimize the cooling system so that we will conserve more power and we spend less on power consumption. Now, that is the reason why we had the in-row cooling, which is the most smart system cooling, because it supplies what you need at that spot. Take for instance, in a modular data center where you have 6 ACs, you can configure them to work as a team. 3 work maybe in these 12 hours. The next 12 hours, those 3 will go offline, and those ones will come not offline, will go off, and those ones will come up. So now, in the need whereby your temperature set points and humidity is maybe 20 to 50 or 23 to 50, that is, your temperature is 23 degrees, and your humidity is 50 degrees, because they go hand in hand. So the temperature, the higher the humidity. So we tend to balance it. Our normal temperature, mostly in data center, is 23. So in the case whereby your cooling system just detect that there is a high amount of heat being emitted by the IT device, it sends more cooling. Whereby if it detects that no, the cooling level, maybe take for instance, the air conditioner cools to about 18 degrees and discover that everything is okay, it stops cooling and just the fan continues working. So that will help because the fan consumes less amount of heat than the compressors. So basically, that is how we use to reduce power consumption in data center using those smart precision air conditioners. Now we have the PUE, which is the power usage effectiveness. This is an evaluation, what we use to evaluate the data center. This is what we use to evaluate the data center. We have the PUE, which is the total power divided by the IT, the consumption of IT equipment. And we have the data center infrastructure effectiveness, which is the IT over this. So these are just parameters we use during evaluation. Now, the data, the PUE value is between 1.2% to 3%. So the lower the PUE value, the better for the energy usage effectiveness or power usage effectiveness, the better. So if our value is tending towards 1, we have an excellent result. So, but the higher the value, the more the poor. When the value is tending towards 3. So, and again, the data center infrastructure effectiveness is also an indicator. So the higher the percentage, the higher the effectiveness of the data center. So we have the partial. So in a situation whereby we have a large data center and they are separated in their zones, they are separated maybe modular by modular, or we have a container data center which are segmented in different places. So we use the partial power usage effectiveness to calculate. So we will detect which one is not utilized and which one is utilized. So that is what basically the power usage, the partial power usage effectiveness is used. We have the cooling load factor and the power load factor. Those are used for evaluation too. So we check the cooling load factor and the power load factor and check if we can balance the two. They are all extensions for PUE, that is the power usage effectiveness. Now, since we have not the panorama of Huawei data centers. This is basically Huawei data center. We have the Fusion Module 500. I've mentioned it. We have 1 to 2 IT cabinets, which is less than or equal to 3 kilowatts. We have the Fusion Module 800, which is a small data center which consists of 1 to 8 cabinets, which is 3 to 15 kilowatts, which consumes up to 3 to 15 kilowatts. We have this the Fusion Module 2000, which is a modular data center. It consumes less than or equal to 250 kilowatts. It can range from 2 to 48 IT racks. The recommended cooling is air cooled for the data center. We have the Fusion Module 5000, which is a medium and large data center, which consists of 6 to 48 IT racks, which is also 250 kilowatt and uses chilled water. Is about 500 meters square. We have the Fusion Module 1000A, which is a prefabricated data center, and we have the Fusion Module 1000B, which is also a prefabricated data center, but it combines a lot of containers together to form it. As for the Fusion Module 1000, it is just a single container, while that of the Fusion Module 1000P is a collection of containers. Now, all these data centers can be managed by just one, which we call the NetEco 6000 server, which is the management, which is the integrated management. You can bring up a lot of data centers. Take, for instance, the one in Kano, the one in Abuja, the one in Lagos. You can monitor them through one NetEco server. So you bring them collectively together and monitor. So you can monitor a lot of data centers through the listen. So we have in the data center, we have sub devices. We have sub devices, which we have the UPS 2000, which is between 1 to 20 kVA. We have UPS 5800 kVA. We have the Fusion Power 5000, which is 1.2. We have the power distribution unit, which is a cabinet, and we have the intelligent battery monitoring. The intelligent battery monitor monitors all the batteries. We also have the smart lithium, smart lithium is a cabinet which consists of batteries which you can monitor too. You can monitor including the cells inside the batteries. I think it consists of about 16 batteries, which has all of them. So if a cell battery number this is having problem, cell number so is having, you can handle the issue. If there's a spare cell, you replace it. So for the cooling, we have the NetCool 5000A/C, NetCool 8000, and NetCool 8000E. It depends on the size of the data center. So now we're going to the last aspect, building a career in data center. First of all, you need to develop the skill of cloud computing. You need to know data center. As it is now, this is where Huawei has done us great, because it has helped introduce us to data center. In our schools, we are supposed to have a course relating to data center, but now, as of now, we don't have. So we are just certifications are the ones we have. So I think Mina, I've not heard of data center being taken in another academy, but Mina has brought the data center HCIA facility certification to the school. So it's important that you register and have the certification so that you will learn more, and so you can build a career on the data center. Anybody with HCIA, a minimum of HCIA, can be employed as a data center, either front office, back office, or whatever this data center, because you have the data, and that is one of the fields that we lack people. Anytime you want to employ, you normally go through vigorous routine. It's not easy to find somebody to suit the position, so we need to train ourselves, and we need to have the certifications in order to be qualified for those positions. Now, data center opportunities, data center facility and operation managers. So those are the top bosses in the data center. They monitor everybody in the data center. We have the data center engineers, which I'm one of them. We have the network/computer system engineers, which are mostly IP and IT. The data center electrical and mechanical. Data center consists of mostly two. The power side consists of mostly two parts, which is electrical and mechanical. The cooling part is mostly the mechanical part, and the electrical aspect of the data center. We have the depth of engineer. We have the cloud/storage engineers. We have the administrators. We have sales, marketing. All those things are also part of the data center, because you have to go out and get customers that will come and subscribe and keep their facilities in the data center, and so many more. We have a lot of them. So thank you very much. We have come to the end of this presentation. So I don't know if there's any question. We can go ahead and ask me. Okay. Am I offline?
No, you are still with us. You are still with us. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. That was a long one, and thank you for transiting us to the end. It was really, though technical, I see some people were turning off. I know how it is, but it's good because you're able to bring us down to the level of where we now get, okay, what is in there for us after all. So thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. It's a full package. What he just did is a full package training. This is not just introduction. You see, he was able to go into the nitty gritty, the little details. So I think we appreciate you for that. You've done so wonderful. Please, if you have questions, please, it's time to, we can just raise our hands. We can raise our hands and then we'll be able to attend to you. You can type your questions. We'll be able to answer. Amore, Christian, Enejo, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
So please, this is your time. You can ask your question. Go ahead, please.
Okay, first I'd like to correct my name. It's Arome Christian. Okay, now I'll go straight to my question. You talked about the HCIA data center certification already available in Mina, Putmina, or Mina. I want to know which section of the is it available in Putmina, and which section of the institution is responsible for administering this training he talked about, and is it available to students like university students, or it has to be specific individuals like and maybe officials? Is it open for students as well?
Okay, thank you for your question. If I can get you right, you're asking the availability of the HCIA data center course in FUT Mina, and then which department is responsible, and if it's available to students, alumni, precisely. That's the word I'll use, alumni. Yes, of course. The data center, HCI data center course is available on the Huawei learning platform. And after taking the course, the normal requirement is that we apply for certification, I mean the certification voucher, after you have gone through the training. And as it stands now, one of the training we're trying to embrace and encouraging our students is the self-paced training, where you yourself go through the training. The iLearning platform is a self-based kind of learning platform in the sense that from where you are, you don't even need to come to our center. I'll come to that. This center I'm in currently is in FUT Mina, and we have available facilities to aid your learning. What I'm trying to say, we are trying to encourage, since the pandemic, you have seen that everything have gone digital, that you can stay at home and learn. So we're trying to encourage students, in as much as we have a center here that you can learn, you can still learn on your own, self-paced, because all the tools that you need, all the guides that you need, we are online, so that anytime you are facing any difficulty, we are ready to attend to. That is the reason for the physical office here in FUT Mina. We are precisely at GK. So of course you can take the course. It's available at the in the learning platform, the e-learning platform of Huawei. We can further guide you on that. I'll further guide you on that. After this training, you can contact me. I'm going to drop my phone number. We already have groups in the academy that could that we send updates for trainings, and you can also reach out to us if you face any difficulty. Secondly, of course, yes, we have a facility here. NIDA IT Hub is the office here in GK, in FUT Mina, where the academy runs. Okay, so you can visit us if you're a student. For you to be registered under the academy, be associated under the academy, and also, of course, in the learning platform. This process is free. you don't pay money for it, nor do we charge you, or there is any financial implication while joining the academy. It's free for now. It's free for now. I know it's going to be very, very expensive in the future. I also double up with Cisco, and I can tell you that this is not marketing, but I can tell you that it's paid for over there in Cisco, where if you are to take certification courses, the voucher, I think the least you can see, especially for CCNE and all this associate level of courses, is $300 as a stand. The Huawei own, because one, you're a student of FET or if you are registered under our academy, you're able to get the certification for free. So just not to go into that in deep, the last question, whether alumni can join. Of course, the prerequisite for taking the courses and we being able to, for you to get a voucher through our academy is when you are registered under our academy. In fact, we'll take in people that are not really students if we see their availability and their desire to learn. We take in students that are even outside FUT now sometimes. So, but as for you, if you're an alumni, of course, you are still part of this school. The only requirement, the prerequisite is to be registered under the academy. That is the FUT Mina Academy, so that you can be accountable to us and we know your learning path. We know that you have done the learning and you're ready to take the certification. I tell you that this certification is free, right? But when giving you, it's a discounted voucher. So you will see it paid for $200. So it's not actually free. So it means that if we are giving you this certification or we are giving you the voucher, you need to show a level of competence in passing the certification. So of course, there's a process you pass through before you are given the opportunity to get a voucher for the certification. Have I answered your question? And we have our instructor. Yes, we have our instructor here. Is online. Is I think one of them is with us here. Is Engineer Raphael Agbola. Is one of our instructor here that has been taking us through the learning processes. So of course, so if there's anything, you clear the air, sir. I think he's online. You can hear me, Engineer Raphael. Okay. Yes, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes. Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. All right. We have another question. Shegun, please, can you go ahead? Though we are running short of time. Go ahead, please, Shegun.
My own, yeah, my own question is very short. I just want to ask if you can get the material, the PDF copy of this data.
We can't hear you.
Hello, sir. I,
Yeah.
if you can get the materials of the.
Okay. Yes, we'll send the materials. We'll send the materials.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. We're going to be sending our materials.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there any other question, please? Any other question? Okay. Engineer Samaila, your boss, is he here?
I don't know, Mr. Forrest. I don't know. Maybe he came and left during the presentation.
Okay. Okay.
So I don't know.
Okay.
He will have said one or two things, but I can't find him on the listen.
Okay.
So I think he has gone. Maybe he's returning to another listen.
Okay. So just as I say, with the time we have already overlapped. It was supposed to be from 12 to 1, though we started also late, but we tried. Majorly, please, I will encourage us. This is not the end of it, even though we'll be going off from this any moment from now. It's going to be a continuous time. I mean, continuous training time as we progress. The learning has shifted. The learning paths have shifted from the traditional, just as you know. I'm just trying to remind you again. I'm not trying to say something new. You already know that it has shifted from the normal traditional physical on-site one-on-one training. Now you can sit and you can be anywhere and you learn from your convenience whatsoever skill you want to develop within the shortest time. I can tell you what the engineer just did within the shortest of time is something that will have taken you longer than this. I promise you, if you go in taking the HCIA course, it's not going to be new anymore because already has introduced and even go into the nitty-gritty of the data center technology. So I will encourage us that as we continue to do this, let's join forces together and continue to do this. Now, I would like to introduce us to the enterprise. Is new for those of you that are conversant with Huawei ICT Academy, especially FUT Mina. We have not been participating on this platform. It's new and there are so many benefits to it. The enterprise community, the Huawei enterprise community, where activities as this takes place over there, and you get to learn from experts, just as we have just learned from Engineer Samaila. You get to learn from experts, not just learn. You can recall those that are students here on our various platforms. You get to win prizes for participating in trainings. You get to win vouchers, certification vouchers. The process of getting voucher, just as I said, is no longer in FUT Mina, in every academy. It's not like before where it was just available. So, so that process is cut out if you even get it directly from the enterprise community. So you also need to get involved and participate. So it's actually a win-win thing. If you are active in the academy, of course, you get the voucher to be available to you. If you're also active on the enterprise community, you get voucher. So your activeness and your consistency is what really gives you the opportunities that are available here at the academy. So I will encourage you. Okay, let me just drop this link. Let me drop this link so that all of us can join the enterprise community group, the Nigerian ICT enterprise community group, so that subsequently we can keep participating. Okay, I'm just dropping this now on the group chat, on the chat box, so you can pick the link. All right, pick the link, go and join the group, join this the ICT Academy group. After you've joined the group, this is not an invitation to join our group. Please explore the site. You will see the availability of resources that are there for free, and even rewards that you get. Normally, I promise you by next time, God's willing, we are going to be giving rewards to participants. You get reward as even winning phones is possible. Sometimes it depends on what is ongoing. There is a particular activity that is ongoing now, just to share their link on your social media, and then you are picked randomly. Reason why I'm sharing this is not only for the reward, is that you get two benefits. You are getting trained. You are getting information from experts in this industry, in this vendor specific industry, Huawei particularly. And also sometimes you are being rewarded. What are you losing? Close to nothing. So you are getting more here. So it's just an encouragement for you to be consistent, even in the activities, even as we share them. And subsequently, we will see how we can keep improving in our skill. And our own goal here is to see you succeed in your career, is to see you do well, is to see you encouraging others to, through your own success. Okay. So thank you very much again, our very own presenter, our keynote speaker. Thank you for that wonderful presentation, for taking out time. He's a very busy man. I know how long it took us to hold him for these few hours or few minutes. It took us a long time because it's an industry that is so demanding now to him. In fact, if after this and you pick interest, you'll be one of his colleagues, so that at the end you will lessen the work. The industry need people like you. Boys, we are not there because we're not trained. We don't know that it's existing. So that's why we're exposing this this opportunity that is existing in plain sight that we don't know yet, so that we can seize these opportunities and then we're able to make better end of our lives, even after school, especially to us students. There shouldn't be a problem of what then after school. You should be the one to make choice. No, it's data center or focus. No, it's network engineer. No, it's this. So that after school, you have a leverage. You have something to really hold on to. I think for now, if there is any other thing, I would like to appreciate the speaker again. I would like to appreciate our instructors. Engineer Raphael is here. Dr. Bala in absent, who is the Deputy Director of ITS, for the opportunity to make this happen, and also the entire school, FUTM of course, and majorly the participants. Without you, we won't be able to be here, right? So thank you very much for taking out the time. I know you have a busy day, but you make out time to be here. So thank you very much. Ifine, is that Ifine? You want to say something? You have question? Because we're rounding up. We can give you like 10 seconds to do that.
Okay, good afternoon.
Okay,
Well,
afternoon.
I would like to get the link, like it's cleared off my screen.
Oh, I've sent it again. I'm sending it again now. I've sent it now. Can you see it?
Yeah. Oh, like it's coming and disappearing. I don't know how to get it.
Okay. So what you can do, can you see my phone number?
Yes, I can. Okay, 07079. Oh, 79. It went off again.
Okay, I don't know what is it, but
Zero seven.
let me call it. Let me call it so I can have it. 070
Okay.
60
Okay, sir.
79
Okay.
35
Okay.
05.
05. Okay. Is this a WhatsApp number, sir?
Yes, it's my WhatsApp number. You just reach out to me. We can add you even in our Huawei ICT Academy group. And
Okay,
every other thing, or every other information that you need, we'll give to you. Is that all?
Much. Yeah, that's it, sir.
So thank you very much. Please, let's endeavor to join this enterprise group, and you can explore the site. I promise you, you will see things that interest you the more. Okay. So for now, bye. Thank you very much for attending, and do have a beautiful day. Thank you.